line. This Terrancegangstawilliams, a.k.a. OG Giggity, a.k.a. Mr. Answer Right Back, a.k.a. the People's Champ, Terrancegangstawilliams. Shout out to Swamp Storiez. He put up in Dallas, sat down. Very good interview. But my intentions with this interview, I didn't know he was going to put all the visuals and do what he do. He went in on this jump. We just was doing a regular interview. But shout out to Swamp Storiez. It's a few things I want to touch on in here as we go through the video. Let's see what he's talking about. Let's see what's going on with this guy here.
You can hide history, but you can't erase it.
Big fact.
I'm a part of New Orleans history.
That's a fact.
I'm so New Orleans.
That's
a fact.
Welcome back to another episode of Swamp Storiez. For this one, we do something that we've never done before. We unveil the entire life story of one of America's most notorious goons. And in this video, you'll get the scoop of his upbringing, his surroundings, and what led him to living the wicked life he lived. And most importantly, you'll also tap into his various crimes that have never been told before. This is by far the craziest and most intricate video I've ever done. But wait, before we jump into it, let me clarify a couple things. First of all, you might be wondering, how did I get all of this information? Well, firstly, we actually did an interview, and on top of this, all of the documents are either sealed or they were lost in Hurricane Katrina. I say that to clarify that nothing in this video can be used in court. But more importantly, this man has completely changed his life around, and he does not glorify anything he's ever done. Instead, he rather explains how this can happen and why no one should ever enter a life of crime. All of this occurred over 30 years ago, and it can now be told as the life of Gangsta Williams. So with all that being said, let's dive right into the video. The story begins in late 1970s New Orleans, a very transformational time in Louisiana history. Believe it or not, the 1950s, 60s, and early 70s were an amazing time to live in Louisiana. The oil industry was booming with refineries all up and down the Mississippi River and the Gulf Coast. Good-paying jobs were easy to find, and companies were getting rich like never before. Well, because of the economic stability, many of the neighborhoods that are extremely violent and poor today were great middle-class communities back in the day. Whether it was North Baton Rouge, Shreveport, or pretty much all of New Orleans, they were all decent places to be. Well, in this video, we start off in New Orleans' 17th Ward, a historically middle-class part of the city. This is where a young man named Terrance.
Now, this picture he had right here, that's my best friend, Tanell Webster, a.k.a. But this picture we took this picture on Phillip Street. We had moved from the 17th Ward. We lived in Catio. We had lived on Johnson Street. Then we went to this address here, to this place here. Look at the furniture. Y'all see, but we were trying to make it, man. We were trying to make it. Look at that little face. Looked like I was going to be a little innocent little boy, right? Well, I was, but hey.
Williams was born and raised early in his life.
I was born and raised in Gert Town, Pine and Olive. It's the 17th Ward. Not too far from where Lil Wayne always rap about Holly Grove. That's where I come from, Gert Town, though. It's good. I know back in the day we had chickens in the backyard. I used to be on the Gert Town swimming team.
That's right.
Gert Town back then, now it changed now, but back then, Gert Town was more friendly, more, family, going to Gert Town Park, swimming team, was cool.
As Terrance describes it, life in the 17th Ward at this time was pretty good. However, his family life was much...
Look at my little brother, Will Marks. This guy here, to my right with this blue and white shirt, his mother is the one that started that, that you hear UNLV, you hear Birdman, you hear a lot of people use Lager Black, like I use it a lot. That come from, that's a Josephine little thing they started doing when they used to come around by the house to get their homies' attention. Because sometimes back then, sometimes you knock on that door, mama, boy, give her my door. Oh no, he can't come outside right now. So you make that, they know, that's the homies. I mean, gotta get ready, sneak outside, or let me get ready to go. The homies waiting on him, that come from Josephine, but his mother, the one who started that.
Complicated. Terrance had 23 siblings growing up, which pretty much made it impossible to have a proper nurturing and supervision as well. To make matters worse, he rarely recalls his father ever being around.
Because I don't remember when I was, from a baby, but I remember my father being around, but not for a long time. So, but for the most part, mom's always been my mother.
And because of this, Terrance spent most of his early years roaming around the neighborhood by himself and sometimes even dabbling in crime.
My mother going to work, she worked at the Sheraton Hotel. So I don't have a father here every day, so I can just rip around and do what I want. I mean, actually, that's when I first learned how to steal out of an A&P store too, back then, growing up in Gert town.
Well, despite the family situation and maybe being a little devious as a kid, life for Terrance was pretty good in the neighborhood. The neighbors looked out for him, and there was really never any concerns of violence.
Growing up in Gert town, you had the cab stand that was jumping back in the days. People I grew up with back then, Corey Dunn, Maine. Maine had a lot of brothers. It was Maine, Carell, Heathy, Junior Boy, Kevin, Steve, all boys. Big Jerry, John, Gator, the mayor of Gert town, Chop Tula, what's up, big bro? My little cousin June, Corey Dickey, Thomas, Eric Travis. Oh, my bad. Kango Slim. What the other one name? Kango Slim. Well, Partners in Crime, not Misdemeanor. It was Kango Slim. Man, I went to school with him. The other one, I can't think. Man, you forgot my name. Prime Time. That's the nickname. I don't say the government. But just to name a few that I come up in Gert town with. Right on Pioneer Avenue, they had that store called Warren. The man name was Warren. His store was called Domino's. And a block from Domino's was a church on the corner. Right across the street was the school, Daniel School. I heard they tore it down, made the police station now.
He was just another regular middle-class kid in New Orleans who was living a pretty good childhood. However, from his birth year of 1974 to the early 80s, New Orleans was changing very, very rapidly. By 1980, nearly every oil company in Louisiana had left for Houston, Texas. Anti-business and corrupt politicians led the companies to a state where the environment was much, much better. So with dozens of massive companies leaving, so did thousands and thousands of jobs, all within a few years span. So just like that, New Orleans had lost its biggest industry and 20% of its population. As a result of this, many low to middle class income families could no longer afford their mortgage and were forced to abandon their house. Banks took over foreclosures all over the city, and once self-sufficient families were now reliant on government assistance. Well, Terrance's family was no different, especially with all them dang kids to support. So at just 7 years old, Terrance was moved from the middle class Gert town to the infamous Callio projects. This was a totally different environment, but at first, Terrance was just fascinated by life in the projects.
I would sit in the window because I was infatuated with the project, how everything was set up, and see the little children.
At first, it just seemed like a fun place to be, but then he was hit with reality.
Callio project that's when I witnessed selling, murder. So it's like you come from one spot that was cool, laid back, just a regular environment, to now it's like, okay, these little children here are more fast, advanced, like you stepped into a different time zone.
Little Terrance had to adapt quickly to his new neighborhood, and at 8 years old, he witnessed something that no kid should ever see.
We stayed on Thalia, by the Ray Ramp. And when I would come through the cut, it was just a young boy around my age, or around my height. I don't know if he was maybe a year or two older than me, but he would always give me a few dollars when I'm going to the store. I remember one day, man, the police was out there. He was stretched out in the courtyard, like he had got killed back in the driveway. So to see stuff like that, you like, man, this stuff real back here. And I was young.
Seeing a friend die in this fashion has a lasting traumatic effect, especially on a child with a developing brain. And without the proper therapy and adult intervention, such trauma lingering on the mind can result in horrible, horrible outcomes. In fact,
hold up, man. I ain't never did all that little stuff. Whoever that dude was, was that me? He had acted. No, man. Listen, man. I'm so cool and laid. You did. Hey, yo, I just did the Togetherness Fair Park in Dallas, where Wayne, Lotto, Jeezy, The Dream performed. Then the artist named T-Shirt from New Orleans performed. Shout out to Relax Street Store. We did a live interview, but I got a chance to interview him. Man, that's something big. He got this guy on here hooping and having these little tantrums. Man, no, man, OG, get laid back and cool. I'm just in the chain gang. They're like, he about to talk about the chain gang. First of all, when I went to state prison, I was on like, dude, I ain't had to go out in that field and go no chain gang. Let's get that straight. Anyway, let's get back to this.
Biggest commonality amongst adult criminals is unresolved childhood trauma. Psychologists will tell you how vital it is to have professional intervention, which sadly Terrance did not have available. With the lack of resources in the projects and so many siblings in the house, Terrance pretty much had to bottle it up all inside. So because of this moment and overall life in the projects, he was forced to grow up way faster than he should have.
To see stuff like that, you like, man, this stuff real back here. And I was young at that age. So, of course, I was aware now that even little youngsters could get killed. So that put me on point to, okay, like I said, I wasn't in the streets then, but I was like getting prepared for it, watching it. And like, you know, as a youngster, you see somebody else doing it, so in your mind, you're like, okay, I want to try that too. Okay, I want to try that too. Okay, I want to try that too.
Like I said, the adverse effect.
Yeah, you know, as a youngster, that's what we strive to want to be like, the people in our hood, people we look up to. And that's why I always speak up about peer pressure. How a lot of youngsters today, just like we did. That's why, you know how people always say, let me say this a bit, jump a little bit. How people always say, there's nothing new under the sun. So with the youngster today, like I always explain people, me coming up, I had gangsters, people I looked up to, people I just watched this from afar, just checking out their style, what they doing. So I didn't have nobody to like I didn't know nobody that hadn't been to prison that could sit down and tell me what going in jail, what happens. Not saying I don't know if I would listen, but still I didn't have, you know, yeah, one person in this ear, one person. I had them in both ear. Boy, you better go get it, boy. This is how you do it. Hold it down. Now who is this man watching me right here?
Of lingering trauma can lead to dangerous thoughts. This is why community resources are so important, especially in impoverished communities. Because while rich kids go to a therapist after they lose a soccer game.
Come on now, Swamp. I had never heard of soccer until I went to the Feds, I think. Yeah, no. Yeah, I think that's when I started seeing the World Cup or something, man. Why you ain't put some little children running around playing football right there that I can relate to? See, that's what I'm talking about, man. Let me just be cool, because he might have done it. I might be jumping out there first. Let's see first.
Kids tend to hold a whole lot of weight on their shoulders. Well, from here, Terrance had no choice but to adapt to living life in the Callio projects. And
now you could tell, man, from I wanted the folks on that picture. You could tell that I was gonna be a little young player now. Yeah, because I had the girls. I always had the girls. Let's get that straight.
During this year, New Orleans saw 233 homicides, making it by far America's murder capital. This is statistically the equivalent of New York City having 4,000 murders a year, when they typically average about 350. I can't express how unfathomably bad New Orleans was during this time, and most of it was taking place in these various projects. Well, because of this increasingly bad environment, Terrance's family decided to move once again. At 10 years old, Terrance's family moved from the projects to a house on Phillip Street. Kind of like Gert Town, this area was still somewhat middle.
No, Swamp, man. Bro. When we left the Callio project, My mama got the job at Sheraton Hotel. We moved across the street to Johnson Street, bro. Like Calio Project, you had the big store and the little store. For people from around there, they know the big store, you had the little store. The little store set on Galvez and Martin Luther King. And the big store, you could say Galvez and Martin Luther King too. On Jackson's side, depends how you look, because the big store over here. And matter of fact, Jackson and Martin Luther King sandwiched the big store. The back street, yeah, that's Johnson. Okay, yeah, okay, you got Johnson. You have Galvez, and you have Jackson and Martin Luther King for the big store. Like I said, the little store just set right on, directly on the corner of Galvez and Martin Luther King. But anyway, we stayed on Johnson, bro, because that's why I had my fight with Lil Charles. And that's when I started. Me and my brother, we started going carry. You know what? I don't think I talked about that. Well, he might have edited it out. I don't know. He might have took that part out. You know what I'm saying? We was off in Dallas. There was a lot of stuff going on. He might have wanted to go check out the festivities, or he might want to go to Deep Ellum. You know what I'm saying? Or he might want to go to my boy bar on 5-Star Bar and Grill in South there. Ain't no telling, man. But anyway, this house here don't look nothing like where I stayed at. And now, this car, what that is? Is that a Benz? That's some old school. That's like a car man with a stove, y'all. Let's see what we're talking about.
And definitely much better than the Calio projects. It was still somewhat dangerous, but it was definitely a much improved place for Terrance to grow up. Regardless, though, violence would still make an appearance in his life, but this time...
Now, Phillip Street, I would say this. Shout out to Patrick Bridges. He the one brought me in this little youngster named Isaac that stayed next door to him. Well, the young boy named Isaac stayed next door to him. My house, my cousin's house, and Isaac's house. I used to fight Isaac too. But he the one brought us to Taylor Park to play football. This area though, Phillip Street where we moved at, was more of a lot of fighting. This where a lot of Santana, he's deceased now, loved to fight, had a pair of hands to rumble. Patrick Bridges, I used to love to see him rumble. He used to fight big dude. He was young, but he was tall for his age too, but he won't rumble. Patrick Bridges, that was a show to see. Then you had Run. Run was light-skinned player. His brother Boss deceased now. Player. Yeah, Big On from around there, Corey. You had Michael from around there. It's gonna be some names I might forget, and they're gonna be, man, how you forgot it? Bro, that was back like 80 something, bro. Like calm down. Like my little bro Keaton, he just got out in Angola. He was a little baby then. But his Uncle Calvin was out. Then you had McQuail, Ravel, Corey. They had another brother name. Forgot the other brother, but they last name Finch. Bozo, yeah. Oh, then we got Marvin Hooker, Errol Hooker. Marvin, Errol. Man, what that little young brother name? Bunch of boys. They stayed on Magnolia Street. Hickey stayed on Magnolia Street. But now I think about it, it was more guys around there than female. We had a few females, but we used to run around the neighborhood, and now you up here to kiss, get a little bit, but we ain't get a little bit. We just roll on the clothes. You with the girls, they be hiding in the backyards, and nighttime we run around, we find them, we get the kiss and just hump on the clothes, dry hump. That's the stuff we did around there at first.
In the strangest way possible. So let me explain. The year is 1986 and Terrance is 11 years old. He's flunking out of school, he has no goals or aspirations, and he's becoming known as a class clown in the area.
I got held back in first grade, third grade, and then fifth grade. Because I always was it's like I just always wanted to be the class clown. Joe cussed the teacher out. So I've always been like that.
On top of this, he has no positive male influence in his life to guide him in the right direction. Instead, he has a mythical creature in his mind, a teenager who everyone...
Why this man keep putting this soccer? Why this man not putting football? That's what I want to know. I play football, not soccer. Oh, I get it. Football, so he got the little football. I get, but bro, when you tell these swamp stories, bro, especially these hood ones, you have to put what we can relate to, what we went. You all right now, and now I'm already beefing with this guy right here who already ticked off, and you about to put this out there, man. I know I ain't y'all. I know I'm out to cut. I know I'm out to circle now. I don't care though. Hey, let's get
up to in the area. This would be his older brother, Brian Baby Williams, who he had little to no memories of growing up. Baby was just one of his 23 siblings who bounced around from house to house as a kid, rarely overlapping with Terrance. But despite their lack of relationship...
Hold on. He said, yo, y'all, come on, man. Listen, I want the females on this one. Y'all saw my baby picture. Y'all saw baby picture. Who looked the best? Come on now, y'all. I want the women to answer this in my comments. Who looked the best out of me and baby when we was young? I still look better now, but I'm talking about when we were young, you could tell, like, you
definitely looked up to his older brother, especially after knowing his reputation.
Shout out to Vamp. That's Vamp from out the MILF. That's a big dog out the MILF right there. The one who's standing right there in the middle right there. That's Vamp. Big dog.
At this time, Baby was only 16, but already a young street millionaire. He had the cars, the jewelry, the women, and much admiration from the whole uptown community. Because of this, Terrance was eager to meet his older brother and was hoping to impress him as any little kid would. Well, that opportunity would finally come, but not in the way he ever expected. And here is where the story takes a crazy, unexpected turn.
Yes, 1985. My mother's phone rang. Phone rang in the kitchen. I answer it. It's Baby on the other end. I'm gonna be around there. Come outside, we hit a horn, all right?
An 11-year-old Terrance is so excited that his older brother is finally coming around. So for over an hour, he sits by the window waiting for his brother to honk the horn. And then he finally sees what he was waiting for. A brand new SUV blasting music rolls up the street. Terrance is geeked, so he instantly hops up and sprints outside to the car. There, he sees his brother behind the wheel, no one in the passenger seat, and a whole lot of girls in the back. That's when Big Bro tells him to hop in the car, and this is like a dream come true.
So now I've got this nice fancy car with the rag top, nice little rims on it, so you're young, you're like, wow, this.
So little Terrance hops in the passenger seat, but this is when things take a left turn.
Jump in the car with him. First thing happens, a gun in the back of my head. I'm like, whoa.
What is going on? Terrance is so confused, but that's when he's given an explanation.
He said, never jump in the car if somebody in that back seat. When you jump in the car, you gotta be aware who in that back seat because you might not make it out. That might be your last time in that front seat.
This is a strange and puzzling interaction to say the least. I kind of understand the lesson he was teaching, but why would an 11-year-old boy need to learn this? Was he simply preparing him for surviving in the streets of New Orleans? Or was he preparing him for an actual life in the streets? Well, here's your answer. The next time his brother would come around, he would ask him to hop in the car once again.
And then, let me tell y'all something. I'm pretty sure a few of you all have friends that have left. Some women might relate to this. All right, babe, I'll be back later on. Or mama, I love you, mama. Or your children, you that's that last ride. They jump in that car with their friends and they don't come back. There's been so many tricks to take someone's life in New Orleans that I'm pretty sure, and like I tell people, it's gangsters in every city, hoods. So that's why I don't get into the tug of war stuff with that part, because what y'all doing here, we could have already been doing in New Orleans, or vice versa. You know, like the old trick, go get a bag of heroin. So if I'm sick a little bit and you sick or whatever, we ready to get high, so we about to shut his bag, and you be like, come on, man. And you make a stick and drop it on the ground. The person, he ready to get high. Man, you tripping. He gonna bend down and pick the dope up. You delete him because his mind on the heroin. Now he done lost focus on all his surroundings. He stuck on, I gotta get the sickness off me, or whatever the case may be, and he wind up getting himself dome checked. So that's just what happens in that city of New Orleans. You got a lot of guys. Y'all know, listen to this. How many people y'all know when you get in the car, they like to ride that front seat? There's a lot of guys like to be in that front seat because they feel like whoever the driver is and the one in that front seat, that's what's going to get all the attention, all the girls, whatever the case may be. People love that front seat. I take the back. I take the back seat any day, man. Any day. Even to this day, I don't mind getting in the back seat because you never know what the person behind you thinking, or might not be no danger, and this person might have a tool on them. You don't know, they might be trying to get comfortable with the tool. You know, when you sit down, you want to adjust it or whatever. They might pull it out to do something, have it point your way to make a mistake, and bow fire, go through the seat, hit you in the back, you paralyzed. Or hit you in the back, hit a heart or something, now you die. All these little, man, let me get in the back. You don't get up front. I mean, you better make a mistake, shoot through the car and hit the motor, hit something up front. You did them out. So, man, I know Bird might be ticked off about this one here. I realized the title he got on that thing, but that was the past. God bless me to be here now. And let me make this perfectly clear to everybody. I don't regret nothing I've done in life, because what I've done in life have helped me become the man I am today. I love Birdman. Like I say, Brian Williams took care of me when I was in prison. I can't stress that enough. There's been a lot of wild stuff going on the internet. You know, that's content. So people be sending me certain stuff. Look at this. Certain stuff I won't answer. You know, I look at the numbers. I don't make sense. I ain't about to hype that up because now I know. You know how people, I know my word. I know who I am on this internet. But I want to make this clear. I'm Team Birdman. I'm with Birdman. No matter what, I'm rocking with him. So if you got a problem with Birdman, you got a problem with me. That's just what it is. But you got people who like to make videos and troll and do all that. Certain stuff I'm just not going to get in because he a grown man. He handle his own. You know, he not a talk. He been talking before me. But know this, that when it's something real, you might as well come see me first. That's just what it is. I love BG. Same thing with Jizzle. If it's a problem, I'm with Jizzle 1000. But when y'all making certain videos, certain stuff, I'm just not going to get in certain stuff. Certain stuff I won't jump out there and get in them people bending, certain stuff. But if I see I can make a video and make me a few quarters, I'm going to say a few quarters. I ain't going to say dollars, I'm going to say a few quarters to add to my little pot. Oh, yeah, I'm going to jump out there. But I'm Team Jizzle. You know, I'm rocking with all the hot boys. That's my family. We get into it. We're going to go back and forth. And so happen the internet is the way that people vent these days, I see. But you got some dudes that they call themselves real gangsters. Real gangsters that's jumping on the internet, hooping and hollering, fussing. So I'm about to start this thing called Internet Divas. They're going to get the Internet Diva of the Week award from doing a lot of goofy stuff that they be doing. I'm talking about the real ones. The real ones who be talking about who fake, who not, who they don't mess with, all these real dudes who call themselves real. And when you on this internet arguing with another man, hooping and hollering, closing your eyes to get your point across, to fuss with another man, you got the Diva of the Week award. Yeah, OG Giggity say that. Make sure y'all spread that, send that to them boys who be on here hooping and hollering, arguing and fussing with men. They done took over the women's spot. But now if you a real gangster, real street dude that's on the internet, and you putting out business to the people, letting the people know who did do that, oh, that's fine. But when you get on here, get the hooping and hollering and fussing with another man, like you and your woman do, man, you out of pocket, man. That means that time of the month for you. That's why I say it. That's locked in. I don't care who don't like it. Anyway, y'all know my motto. Let's say no to drug. Let's stop the violence. Put the guns down. Make sure y'all get tested for HIV and AIDS because y'all need to know y'all status. We got the nonprofit. They need us. The Instagram, they need us. Third War. The movie, them boys at war. The reality show. Surviving Without Birdman. Wow, that's crazy. Make sure y'all check out the merch. Thank y'all for our love support. what I got coming up next? Oh, we about to get ready to work on a movie. I'm about to get back into doing my reality show. And I was helping out this artist named T-Shirt from New Orleans. He wanted to hire this artist. He got a mean song, Body. That Body's called Body. Check him out, y'all.